What's up, good people? It's your man Jay Free. I see outside the box, United Intellectual Consortium, continuing to get like minds to link together. We try to use critical thinking in our process to think outside the box. Step away from the normal, traditional precepts and concepts that have been passed down to us. We don't just accept what's been given to us. We don't accept what's on the surface. We dig deeper. We look further. And so this is our address and our approach. We doing a Tao study, but again, outside the box. And so I know many of us have seen the Tao study, but these particular videos that I'm sharing with you now, I just wanted us to take a moment to look at them from a different approach, with a different understanding than what we may have previously had. Because if you would notice, pay attention to some of the details, because what we're talking about is systematic oppression, and we're talking about a mind manipulation, a mind control that have been passed down to us, that it's done so subtly that most of us are unaware, and we don't pay attention to what's going on around us as it is happening. And so I wanted to take a moment for us to pay attention to some of the details that are available right in front of us, that if we would pause and pay attention, we can see right in front of our eyes exactly what's going on. Like I say, so this is to be an eye-opener, because so many people try to talk about the system isn't real, it doesn't exist. People try to say racism doesn't exist. And so all I'm doing is trying to bring to light how we have all, regardless of your color, we have all been duped and manipulated to all believe the same way. Like I say, when I talk about racism, I'm not referring to people saying, I hate you, you nigger, I hate you, you spick, I hate you, you Jew, I hate you, you cracker, you honky. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the mind state that is developed within all of us as individuals, that has been perpetuated through the system, through mainstream media, through entertainment, through education. We're showing how the ideology that is placed in our mind has been placed there. So again, like I say, I know we're all familiar with the Tao studies, but I'm going to play the video, and then we're going to pay attention to some of the details from a, I guess you would say, a different outside the box approach and perspective, if you will. All right, so ride with me, people. Let's go.
Which doll is the black doll? And which one is the white doll?
That one.
Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me?
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Again, I already know that we're familiar with the Tao test, but again, notice and pay attention to how quickly they are to pick the Tao of color as opposed to the Tao, the white skin Tao. And notice the question when she says like me, when they ask which Tao looks like, which one looks like you, and the young girl says like me. Pay attention to some of the details. Again, I'm going to hit on some points as we go, but I want us to really pay attention to the details of the videos. Don't just look at the dials, but pay attention, because we're going to discuss a little deeper exactly what we're paying attention to, because I want us to understand these are small children that don't have full comprehensive skills and understanding yet, and so they answer the questions with the most sincerity. Remember, Bill Cosby used to have a show say, kids say the darndest things. The reason being is because of that. Kids will answer honest and sincere more times than not, just because they don't lack the comprehensive abilities to know how to manipulate and deceive. They only know what they know, and they're aware of what they don't know. And so that's why I say pay attention to the details of what it is that you see in these videos, and then we'll dig a little deeper.
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.
That doll.
Can you show me the doll that you like best or that you like to play with?
This one. I like that one.
And Kelly.
This one.
That one?
I like to play with this.
And can you show me the doll that is the nice doll? And why is that the nice doll?
He's white.
And can you show me the doll that looks bad? Okay. And can you and why does that look bad?
Because it's black.
And why do you think that's a nice doll?
Because she's white.
And can you give me the doll that looks like you?
Again, remember, we're dealing with young children that don't know how to deceive, and they don't have full comprehensive and understanding skills yet. So notice how quickly and how assuredly she answers the questions when the lady asks her which doll is good and which one is bad, and why not, and she says because she's black, and because it's white. But notice how slowly she just responded to the question when she was asked which one looks like you. She paused for a split second. There wasn't the pause before. See, what's being revealed is they're speaking to young children who they're answering questions immediately based on their experience and what their understanding is, based on what they have received into their understanding, into their cognition. And so this is all the signals that have been passed down. So this is through the home, this is through what they see on television, this is what they learn in the classroom, and this is what they've also seen and been able to absorb with their own personal experience. And so this is where these ideologies come from. And I know people are saying, well, what are you talking about? Like I say, we're getting to the root of explaining racism from its truest form, understanding that it's a psychological programming. It gives a sense of privilege to one group while it makes another group feel inferior and feel less than. As I said, right here in this particular example, we see the different color that the children are picking, but notice the hesitation again when she was asked which one looks like her. After she had responded which doll was good and which doll was bad, then she then had to respond to which one looked like her. See, kids don't have the same cognition as we do to think ahead of what the question is they're being asked. So she only could answer when she was asked which doll is good. She could only say the white one, and which doll is bad, the black one. You know, she can only answer based on her small sense of understanding, and this is why she couldn't see ahead. So now when the question came, which one looks like you, that's why there was a hesitation, because she's young, but she still yet realized the question that she had been asked previously. Now she was thinking, oh, I just said that was the bad one and that one looks like me. So again, these examples are going to be explained and shown in greater detail as we go forward. Again, I'm just trying to spark the interest as we go forward to listen, to say, pay attention to what is right before you as you see it. All right.
15 out of the 21 children preferred the white doll.
Yeah, that one.
Which one?
This one.
Why do you want that skin color?
Because I don't know. I don't know.
Not sure? What do you think of that skin color?
Well, it looks kind of whitish, and that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? Why do you want that skin color?
Because it looks lighter than this kind, because this looks a lot like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just don't like the way brown looks, because the way brown looks.
Now, as I was just explaining and just said, we're dealing with the psychology and the understanding. So notice how this young lady just said, I just don't like the way brown looks because it's icky. And she said, I don't know why. She didn't know why. This is just based on an unconscious programming that has been placed on her because of society. This is through experience of watching television and hearing adult conversations and seeing adult scenarios and situations around her that involve race, as well as experiences she's probably had on the playground or from other little girls. Like I say, the video is going to go on and it's going to give other details and examples, but like I say, we watch these tests, but do we pay attention to the details that they really reveal instead of just paying attention to what's on the surface? This is a child that says, I don't like my own skin color, but then she responded by saying, I don't know why. She didn't really understand why. See what I'm saying? She just unconsciously didn't like her skin color. Pay attention further. Look at it again. All right.
It looks lighter than this kind, because this looks a lot like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just don't like the way brown looks, because the way brown looks really nasty for some reason, but I don't know what reason. That's all.
So you think it looks nasty?
Well, not really, but sometimes.
Sometimes. And Brielle, they asked what color adults don't like. Do you remember what you said? Which one? That's right, that's what you said. Why do you think adults don't like that color?
Dark.
Dark. And adults, you think adults don't like dark?
Well, maybe some adults do, but maybe some of them don't.
Mm. And then which was the ugly child?
So show me the smart child. Okay, why is she the smart child?
Because she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the mean child. Okay, why is she the mean child?
Because she's way darker.
Okay. Show me the good child. Why is she the good child?
Because I think she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the bad child. Why is she the bad child?
Because she's a lot darker.
Show me the ugly child. Why is she the ugly child?
Because she's like, a lot darker.
Now notice the difference in the response from the children of color as opposed to the little white girl. Now, the difference in response, notice her response was very aware and very conscious and direct, saying, well, she's the good one because she looks like me. Well, that's the bad one because she's darker. Notice the difference. See, this is what we're saying is the understanding through psychology that has been passed down to us through teaching and through education without our understanding. Like I say, we're going to continue to go and break it down a little bit. Now, we're going to go into a Hispanic school. So now pay attention, because now we're dealing with those that are yellow, those that are not necessarily either black nor white. You see what I'm saying? But notice the understanding and perspective yet that they still have regarding color. Pay attention to the details. Attention to the details.
Because she's like, a lot darker.
¿Cuál muñeco es bonito? ¿Cuál muñeco es feo? ¿Cuál muñeco es malo?
Ninguno.
¿Cuál muñeco es malo?
Este.
¿Y por qué?
Porque, bueno, este es moreno y este blanco.
¿Cuál muñeco es feo? ¿Por qué?
Porque a mí no me gusta el color café.
¿Cuál muñeco te gusta más?
Este.
¿Cuál muñeco es bueno?
Este.
¿Y por qué?
Porque no me dan miedo los güeros porque tengo más confianza con si los un poco más así como este. No tengo mucha confianza.
Now notice within this one, like again, we're dealing with Hispanic children, and notice their responses are still the same, but notice the clarity that they are saying because this one's white and because this one's brown and I don't like brown. And this young boy being very articulate. Now pay attention to him through the whole survey, even to the end, because like I say, we're dealing with children. Their reactions and responses will also reveal a lot more as far as their understanding. Remember, they're young, so this understanding have been passed down to them, and we're going to show in detail how this comes about. But notice and pay attention to the details of how he says, I don't really trust the black ones, but the other ones like this one, he say I don't trust them as much, but white people I trust them, but I don't really trust the other ones as much. He was very articulate in his understanding. Now pay attention to the
¿Cuál
details.
muñeco es malo? ¿Por qué?
No sé.
¿Cuál muñeco es feo?
Este. No sé, es que me parece que está un poquito, ¿cómo te diría? Más moreno y no se ve tan blanco y no tiene mucho aspecto.
Wait a minute. Did she just say because it's darker and it doesn't look too white, it doesn't have much aspect? Did you see the articulation of the young lady? She stopped, paused for a moment, and thought about what she was saying. And she even used the word, I wonder if she even know what the word means. She said doesn't have much aspect. How can a doll have aspect? It's not even a live creature. This means, again, what we have to understand, people, is because they're pointing at pictures and looking at dolls, this means we're dealing with 100% psychology, perspective, and stereotype. You understand what I'm saying? Because the doll or the picture hasn't done anything. It just is a representative, and because they're dolls, it's even a baby, so it's not even a grown man or grown woman where an ideology or stereotype of a gangbanger or a thug or something like that. We talking about they looking at babies and little kids on pictures, but still yet are very articulate in understanding and expressing their current understanding. But again, as I say, we're dealing with children that don't really understand. So I want you to pay attention to the details, especially the articulate ones, because watch again now, we're dealing with Hispanic children. So just like with the blacks and the whites, watch as we go forward and they ask the questions, which one looks like you? Pay attention to the reactions and responses when they have to think about the answer that they are giving as well as the answers that they have already given. Pay attention to the details. You'll learn a lot.
¿Por qué el muñeco blanco es bueno?
Porque sus ojos son azules y todo su cuerpo es blanco.
¿Cuál muñeco es feo? ¿Por qué?
Porque está negro.
¿Por qué ese muñeco es malo?
Porque está café.
¿Y por qué que este café es malo?
Porque pega.
¿Cuál muñeco te gusta más?
Blanco. Porque sus ojos están bonitos y su raza también.
¿Cuál muñeco se parece más a ti?
Un poquito a este. Es que soy un poquito güerita de mis piernitas y de mis aquí de mi espalda y de mi carita y mis bracitos los tengo morenitos.
¿Cuál muñeco se parece más a ti?
Este.
Now remember, this young man was very articulate in expressing his opinions and feelings, talking about which one was better because the white was better, and I don't really trust the darker one. Now notice again, like I say, we're dealing with young kids that aren't able to fully comprehend exactly what it is that they're saying, and so what they're doing is expressing what has been passed down to them through the school system. When you look at some of the items that show up in the curriculum that the kids watch and that the kids are fed from preschool, Head Start in some cases, preschool, kindergarten, and then we all been pushed through the system. And when you look at these images and wonder how we get the ideology of good and bad and ugly and pretty, and how it's pushed down to us, we not aware because we don't pay attention. It's done so subtly, but this is where the ideology come. And so what is happening is, notice again, as I said, he was very articulate and adamant in delivering his answers when they asked who was good, who was bad. But did you see how hesitant he was when asked which one looks like you? He paused for a great moment. I mean, he literally hesitated and said, and then because he's smart, notice he's articulate, because he was intelligent enough to realize what he had said previously and to think about it, he still tried to associate himself with the white dial. But within himself, he knew which one he looked more like. Now, it's going to play on again, and you'll see how he knew exactly which one he was.
Las orejas.
See what I'm talking about? Now notice how articulate he was. So because he was articulate enough and smart enough, she asked him, well, how is it that that's the one that you look like? And again, he had to pause and think for a moment. And notice his response. He really knew the answer. And he said, his ears? He said, that's the one I look like because of my ears. Forget the rest of my whole entire body, but because of my ears. Notice now what this identifies is how we identify ourselves. And this is how the system of racism has been trickled down and manipulated through our minds and our understanding, like I say, through our education, through our media, through our social, through complete total social programming and everything around us. And so it's done so subtly. So these little kids represent the children that we ourselves once were. And so they represent the ideologies, the precepts and concepts that were embedded into our unconscious mind without our understanding. Notice it, the books that we were given in preschool and kindergarten, you know, with the pictures of pretty and ugly and good and bad, those weren't the books we were given when we were old enough to articulate what books we actually had. Notice in preschool and kindergarten, you didn't take certain things home, you know, but this is how it's perpetuated, and nobody really pays attention or thinks about it or acknowledges how this trickles down. And so how it works is the just as you saw the black children that said, I don't like myself because of my skin color. You see what I'm saying? As you saw others that were of the same skin color, like the Hispanic young boy, but they try to disassociate themselves. So in other words, the ones that are white, just like the young girl says, well, I'm right because I'm white. And if she look like me, she good, because this is what my experience, my surroundings, the adult interactions that I see, the surroundings that I'm involved in, my experiences that I have been involved in my youth, everything that the book, the system, the images that I see portrayed through media and through entertainment tells me that I am on the top. And this is what the unconscious programming to the white person says. And so that little girl doesn't hate nobody because they're black or because they're Hispanic. She doesn't. These are kids, again, they didn't understand the questions they were even being asked. They just answered very openly and honestly as they could. So she didn't understand, and she doesn't think, she's not a racist. She can be. But what I'm talking about racism is how the unconscious programming that now this little child grows up also with a sense of reasoning, thought, and understanding that says that I am privileged to what I want or what I see in front of me. This is how it's supposed to be. And she continues to learn more be based on her surroundings, as well as the black children continue to learn more based on their surroundings. Right now, you ask the young black girl, and she just says she didn't like her skin color because it's dark, and she responded to Anderson by saying, I don't know why. She said, I don't know. I don't really know why. So she didn't know why she didn't like herself. But I guarantee you by the time she hits 13, she'll know exactly why she doesn't like herself. But she still won't understand why she doesn't like herself. And this is the society that we exist in, where one group of people unconsciously have been programmed to think less of themselves than they are. And another group of people have been programmed to think that they are the top of the food chain. And everybody else in between has been programmed to try to be as close to the top as possible. You see what I'm saying? And so this is where we exist. This is an unconscious psychological programming which is manipulated on us through this system. This is what we talk about when we talk about racism, white supremacy. This is its effect. So we use these analogies and use this example of the dial test for us to pay attention to the details that we normally or otherwise would not have paid attention to, or that we normally or otherwise have not paid attention to, so that we would be aware and pay attention to how we have all been affected by the same programming. Now, it's 2017, so the civil rights bills and the civil rights movement were 1965, 60 something through 65 or 67 or something up in those years. And so we'll say the effects coming out about the 70s. But what we have to understand is that's how many years ago? So we'll say 67 to 2017, and that's how many years? That's how many years? Like almost 60 or something, you know what I'm saying? And so the problem is I'm only 41. My mom's 60. And so there's those that are older. So my mom's 60. So that means that my grandparents are much older. So what we talking about is, if this is the psychological programming that has been passed down to a generation, and this is what the children's perspective is today, it was taught to us. If Jim Crow segregated South was just 50 years ago, 60 years ago, what kind of mind state of the people do you think really exist out here? So this is what I say when we try to say that there's not a system of racism. This is what I say when I try to say everybody needs to be aware, and that those that would even say that they're not racist were probably like the little white girl in the video. You're not racist in your mind, but I guarantee you that if you would stop and pay attention to what's really going on, and you would see things from a different perspective. I got a video on my channel now where we talk about the police chief here in Minnesota who has now been forced to resign as a result of the Australian woman who was killed by the black Muslim officer from Somalia. And we talked about the outrage of the people over this white woman being killed, but this is the same place where Freddie Gray's killer just got off, and we saw ample evidence that that was wrong. This is the same police environment where numerous others have died. Sandra Bland, who was a black woman who was murdered in cold blood. In my opinion, I know it wasn't cold blood in the sense he walked up and blew her brains out, but tell me how somebody getting pulled over for what they say is a traffic violation, and them refusing to put out a cigarette because you got an ego trip, how does that turn into them dying, you know what I'm saying, mysteriously hanging themselves or whatever inside of a county jail? How do they even end up in the county jail? That's bullshit. You see what I'm saying? There's no explanation for that. But now we got, because a white woman gets shot, now they want the cop's head, and where's Blue Lives Matter at now? You see, and this is what we're talking about, because we're trying to point out the understanding that is in the psychology unconsciousness. And this comes through the programming and the teaching, the indoctrination of the system. That's why we are all locked in the matrix. And we need to come up out of it and wake up. It's your man Jay Free, I see. Blessings, 100. Peace.
Why is she the bad child?
Because she's black.
And why is he the ugly child?
Because he look like he white.
Why is he the dumb child?
Because she has dark brown skin.
Why is she the bad child?
Because she makes fun of everybody else's skin color.
Show me the child who has the skin color most adults like.
And show me the child who has a skin color most adults don't like.
Dumb child.
Dumb child.
Okay, why is she the dumb child?
Because she has black skin.
Show me the mean child. Why is he the mean child?
Because she's brown.
Show me the bad child. Why is he the bad child?
Because he is black.
Okay. Show me the ugly child. Why is he the ugly child?
Because he's brown, black.
Show me the child who has the skin color most adults like. And show me the child who has the skin color most adults don't like. Show me the child who...